Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Club Solutions Viewpoint. Your host, Ralph Reyes, here. Today, I am joined by the world famous Todd Durkin. Todd Durkin, I am so excited to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Ralph, I am honored to speak with you and share some good stories with you, my friend.
Oh my gosh, you just can't help but smile when I talk to you. So just how we know each other, was fortunate to get to know you when we had you come out to our clubs and speak to our personal training team a couple times. We did some workouts in our gyms and in our performance spaces, and you just had a huge impact on the team while you were with us. So, man, it was great. It was great to get to know you as a person.
Thank you. I still remember that day when we had a chance to connect there at Club Sport and the teams that we had a chance to work with, and I still hear from some of those men and women now. And that's many years later, but I always love going into clubs and studios and gyms and imparting some wisdom to all the trainers and coaches out there.
Yeah. Now, Todd, you've been able to really create a huge enterprise around yourself and your various businesses. Maybe just before we dive into the big questions here, just give us a little update on what's going on with Todd and TD Enterprises and everything you got happening.
There's a lot, Ralph. There's a lot. I'll pack it in kind of tight. And if you want to ask any questions beyond there, please do so. One of the things I'm about to launch here and drop is a book. True Strength is just coming out here as we speak. It's coming out on June 18th. And I'm really excited for that. Why? Is because a lot of things that are happening right now in the TDE world deal with the last 3.5 years. For me, True Strength is about my last 3.5 years and my journey through a lot of pain, physical pain, and with a second knee replacement and a really serious back condition that brought me down this crazy path. It really deepened me to the point of what is next for me personally and professionally. And I did a lot of soul searching over a 3.5-year period. And everything with that, Ralph talks about this, is the crest of the wave determines the depth of the valley, and the depth of the valley determines the crest of the wave. And for the better part of those 3.5 years, I tasted the valley like I've never tasted the valley before for that length of time. And truth be told, is everyone had a difficult time, especially here in our beloved industry, in the fitness industry. We got hammered, and I got hammered on a lot of levels. Personally and professionally. I shared in True Strength. So in a nutshell, True Strength dropping really reveals that story and the other two things that are coming from that. Number one is my Impact Summit, which is here in Los Angeles in July, and I'm really excited for that. We've got 12 world-class speakers. It's in conjunction with Idea World. And it's not just for fit pros, it's for consumers as well. And it's a motivational kind of Tony Robbins type event, while it is for trainers and coaches as well as the consumers, our members. This is going to be an energy and inspirational event like I've never done. And that stemmed from, I love events. I love live working with people and speaking events and getting the chance to press the flesh with people and hug people and high five people. Hey, I'm like a lot of other trainers and coaches that this is what makes me tick. And the last thing, just on a quick update between the book and the Impact Summit, is Ralph, for my 25+ year career and devoting my passion and my purpose to fitness, is in the soul searching in this time of true strength for me and practically being broken and doing that reflection. I really came up with, what is my legacy play, and what's the next decade plus of my life going to be about, and how do I make a play not just for me but truly for the industry. And I just announced recently that I am actually launching a fitness franchise that is going to combine fitness and recovery, faith, and life coaching. So it's fitness, recovery, life coaching, and faith all under one roof. And I'm really, really excited for what's about to become and what is already to be. And I couldn't be more excited for the next decade and all that's going to happen, and taking faith, fitness, recovery, and life coaching under one roof. And I've been doing that here at the gym I founded 24 years ago. But now we're going to be taking Impact X Performance. It's called Impact X Performance, and we're taking it nationally across America. And I'm really excited for all that's about to be here this year.
Oh my gosh, that's so much right in there.
Just hearing it for the first time.
First though, Todd, I gotta say, man, I'm sorry that I didn't know that you were going through such a tough time, and I'm so happy for you that you're out on the other side of it. But yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Well, thank you, Ralph. But what I'll say is this: part of the book is I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah,
it's the reason why is because I share this, and man, it's as transparent as I've ever been. I consider myself like authentic, but I didn't tell people because I didn't want to become my back. I didn't want to become my knee. I didn't want to, hey, Todd, how's your back? How's your knee? How's this? It's like, it's not about me. And I didn't want the world to know, like, hey, I'm hurting now. Right. And I'm like, it does me no good. And people are like, man, but wait a second, you launched all this stuff. Yeah, because that was part of my healing. Like I launched coaching programs, my life coaching program. I launched my God-Sized Dreams Planner and another book, Get Your Mind Right, came out in the middle of the pandemic. I'm launching all this stuff is because that was part of my own healing, Ralph. It was like, for me, I was doing this soul search and like, man, how do I find this? And I was launching these things, and it was part of my own healing process. And that's part of what this book is about is, I didn't share it because I was trying to figure it all out, and I was putting all this out there, and I was trying to heal on the inside. And that's what true strength is about, is in how do you deal with pain physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is. How do you go through a time of adversity or challenge or strife? And we all process it differently, but I was in a back brace, popping pills, bent over, training people because I didn't want my athletes to know I was in deep physical pain, about to face a 14-hour back surgery. And here I am training people because that's what made my soul sing. When I'm training people, that's the only thing that made me feel better, like I was contributing, was when I was training or I was creating something.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying about not wanting to be defined by your injury and that just be the thing. So I totally get that. And I'm sure your book is going to help a lot of people get through adversity. So, I mean, that'll be exciting to be able to dig into.
Well, thank you. And, you know, we all have these times, and it doesn't matter if it was the pandemic or if it was another time in your life or what's maybe coming up. But I had some breakdown moments, some true breakdown moments, like where, Ralph, I share it in the book. I'm broken. Like I was broken. And at one point, after the doctor told me I needed a 14-hour surgery, I went in the car and I cried like a baby to my wife. I said, how can this be happening? I'm serving our industry. I'm saving lives. I got gym owners telling me that, you know, I'm helping them save their gym and their life. And here I am, I'm drowning. I'm literally going down the tubes, but I'm not sharing how broken I am because that's lifting me up. And it was this really complex time of like, I'm saving everyone else, but I'm dying, like literally dying. And when they told me that I needed this massive surgery and my life's on the line, and I'm crying to my wife, she said something to me I'll never forget. And Ralph, I get emotional saying it now. I got emotional writing it. Is my whole thing was, why is God doing this to me when I'm saving lives? My purpose on earth is to impact 10 million people. And I'm going off and like getting all fired up to her. And she said, after me complaining and getting all fired up for 3 minutes, she said, stop complaining. What if God's got a plan for you that surpasses what you can see? Maybe you want to change 10 million lives, and maybe that's your goal and your dreams and your vision. But what if God wants you to serve and save 100 million lives? And what if it's not just in the fitness industry? What if it's people, when you're going to talk to the financial industry or other industries, that people who are broken, people who are down or depressed, or kids who are popping in, you know, drugs or committing suicide? What if it's that? And she goes off on this rant. She was right. And I didn't want to hear it at that time. And this is 2021. one when this all happened, but I share it in the book now as I've gotten through all that, and I'm on the other side of coming out of that valley and hitting the crest. But I share it all. And listen, as coaches and trainers and fitness business leaders here, like, this is real life stuff. And it doesn't matter if you train 5 people, you train 50 people, 500, 5,000, 5 million. I bear it all, Ralph. I bear it all. And I was broken, brother. I was broken. And that fueled me. And that's the purpose of a book, is not just, hey, I was broken. It's how do you go from broken to blessed? How do you go from when you're down and you don't know if you're done, or you're overwhelmed, or you're burnt out? I was burnt out. I was burnt. Boom. And then it's kind of crazy how it all happened, but I'm as inspired now as I was when I got started in the industry. I wouldn't say that 3.5 years ago, because I was done, but now I'm more fired up now than I've been in years.
Well, it feels like, when your wife said those things to you, it feels like she was God to you in that moment, right? She was answering your question to God. She answered it for God through her.
When you're in pain, you can't think right. Here I am just coming out with a book called Get Your Mind Right. And my mind wasn't right. Like, I wrote the book called Get Your Mind Right, and I'm the mind right coach, and my mind wasn't right. And I needed her at that point in my life to just impart some wisdom, because I was cloudy. I was, in pain, and I'm on painkillers, and I'm on anti-inflammatories, and my mind's not right, and I'm battling to get my own mind right. And she said that, and I needed to hear that at that point. And it shows you, I mean, whoever those closest people in your life, whether it be a spouse or a mentor or a coach, I needed that day after getting the worst news of my life, that I'm sitting here thinking, is my career over? As a fitness pro, as a speaker, like, how am I supposed to get back on planes and go speak when I can't even go for a walk around the block? Like, I'm done. Like, and you're telling me it's going to take 1 to 2 years to get back my back after a 14-hour surgery? So, man, Ralph, I did some so soul searching, and I guess when you ask for an update.
So what was the turning point, Todd? So we got through the valley. So what was the turning point where the trend line started to tick up?
Man, that's the essence of the book, is because what happened is, over a 3.5-year period, I'll just get to, after many, many things happening, Ralph, it got worse before it got better. I ultimately got diagnosed with sleep apnea, which means I wasn't sleeping on top of this. I'm like, how can I, early 50s, get diagnosed with sleep apnea? That's for old guys that aren't fit and they're obese, and the doctor I was working with, she's like, no. I got Navy SEAL clients who have sleep apnea. When you got a 17.5-inch neck or bigger, you snore at night. She goes into sleep apnea. I get diagnosed with sleep apnea. I was 5 days away from going to see Dr. Amen to get a brain scan for CTE. That's how bad it was. I'm messed up. And in May of 2023, when I got diagnosed with sleep apnea, and it was like the best thing ever. I felt like, hallelujah, someone found the missing link to all of my stuff: knee surgery, back surgery, sleep apnea. I wasn't sleeping on top of all the stress of the pandemic and trying to save everyone's gym, including my own. I get diagnosed with, you haven't been sleeping. And they told me I had 120 sleep apneas in the night I was tested. 120 sleep apneas, meaning you stop breathing. And mine were from 20 to 52 seconds per apnea. The doctor said, go tread water in your pool, put a brick over your head, and in the 6 hours and 10 minutes, stop breathing 120 times for 20 to 52 seconds. That's why you feel exhausted, burnout, and down, is because that's been your life for years. I'm like, how is that possible? He said, good question. But now that we have an answer, now we can get a solution. And Ralph, I was on my way to Idea World when I had I had to wear one of those. I wear one of those sleep, the machines that you have, the CPAP machine. The night before Idea World started last year, I put that machine on. I woke up, and for the first time, and I promise you, in over a decade, I felt like myself again. I said to myself, in all humility, I said, I'm back.
Oh, man.
Todd Durkin is back. And I felt like, man, that's all I wanted, was to get me back. And I went through hell to get back. But 3 months after getting my health back, now all of a sudden my brain got back to like, whoa, And last summer of 2023, when I start telling you, I just wrote a book about this, and the franchise is taken off and everything else. I went through hell, and I had the best people around me, some of the best, friends and pastors and you name it, some of the best people supporting me. But I had to walk through this journey. Why? Because now in dealing with this and in working with people who are down, depressed, stuck, broken, all of these things that I understand it now in a way that I never understood it even prior to this. And I'm excited for who I'm helping in the fitness industry and in those who I'm speaking with and those in the franchise world, that we're now opening up Impact X performance franchisees nationwide. And it's people who want to combine faith, fitness, recovery, and life coaching. And I haven't been more on fire for life in over a decade, Ralph. And I've been doing this game for a long time, but I think it was ultimately for me, God's way of taking me to where he wants me to go versus where I want to go. I contemplated tapping out and moving to Montana and calling it a day. And your time is far from done. We got a mission to complete, and I'm heeding the call. And that's when you say, can you give me a quick update? That's a quick update, brother.
Oh, man. No, that's fantastic. And I'm so glad that you're at the place you are. You're so energized and fired up. And it's amazing, just really the testament to, sleep, the importance of sleep, just as such a rudimentary thing. There's a quote I love, and it's the person who has his health has a million dreams. The person who doesn't have his health has one dream.
Yep.
And I think that's, us being in this industry of the health and fitness industry, that is just such the key. And that's before muscle, before HRV, before, VO2 max, before any of that, it's health.
That's it. I've been preaching that message forever. And here I am going through it. People always think, oh, you're a trainer, you're a coach, you own a gym, it must be easy. No, it's not easy for us to, even when you work in a gym to work out. It takes discipline. It takes, scheduling your workouts. And listen, when it comes to sleep, I was the one out there preaching you got to sleep. And I would try to sleep. And I created a journal called the Impact Journal in the middle of this. The Impact Journal has a morning routine journaling and an evening routine journal. I created the evening routine journal for myself to heal because I wasn't sleeping. So I would take the last hour to journal, to stretch, to do the quote hot bath with the lavender. Like I was doing everything, but it didn't matter. So I'd be like, yeah, you got to sleep for 7 hours, everything. It didn't matter because if you have sleep apnea, it doesn't matter. And I was never told, hey, get checked for sleep apnea. Do you have a 17.5-inch neck or bigger? Do you snore? Does your wife ever tell you that you stop breathing in the middle of the night? And she did. But I'd say, honey, I'm just being quiet so that it wouldn't interrupt your sleep. Like I'm just
afraid. I'm afraid you're going to yell at me for making
noise.
I
was like totally hiding it. But the truth is, even as a coach, we all know we need to sleep. Yeah. But I never thought I'd have sleep apnea. I really didn't even know what sleep apnea was, other than it's what old guys get. And then the further from the truth, you got 30-something-year-old getting it because they got a thick athletic neck and it occludes the upper airway and you stop breathing in the middle of the night for 2 seconds or 52 seconds. So even when you know all of the different things about health or fitness, ultimately we got to quarterback our own health. We got to quarterback our own health to the point was my primary care physician wasn't asking me, hey, maybe you have sleep apnea. I had to go outside my own network of physicians to ultimately find the answer, which turned the spigot on through multiple injuries, setbacks, mental stuff of like, what's going on? I'm swirling down. I'm trying to save everyone. And lo and behold, this was the underlying thing of everything. And I was fretful that it was CTE from multiple concussions in my football career. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited for the Impact Summit. The True Strength book offers the entire saga, but ultimately it's not just a saga. It's how do you get through adversity and challenge, and what's the mindset when you're battling to get you to the other side, and what's on the other side? How do you live your life's divine purpose? How do you get your soul to sing when your soul's not singing? How do you go through months and months or even years and years or 3.5 years of hell to get you to the point where you're ultimately walking your divine purpose? And that's
I wanted to ask you about purpose, because I think that you are you are a very purpose-filled person, and I can see it in just how the enterprises you create and the things you do. And I also know you to be a man of faith as well. And I think you've been able to create sort of your work and your life's purpose and blend them together in a very unique way. And I was thinking, can you give people some advice about how to do that, being their authentic selves, right? Allowing themselves to be who they are and explore their purpose within their interest and still be able to make a living.
Mm. I guess when you've been around a while, you get more comfortable in your own skin, right? So, I think in my own career, I've just gotten even more comfortable in my own skin, and I am who I am. And I know my life's purpose is how I'm supposed to impact people. And my mission at the end of the day is when I hop over the pearly gate someday, is all I want to hear is, well done, good and faithful servant. That's what I want to hear, man. And my job here isn't to go out and be a Bible thumper. It's not to go out and just everything is holy rolling. No, matter of fact, a lot of times I'm just walking my walk and I'm sharing my beliefs and my core values and everything else. And those who want to follow, fantastic. If you don't, total respect. To me, it doesn't matter if you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, you're atheist. Like, listen, my job is to be who I am and to share my works with others as well. And to me, as my purpose has deepened and I've been through more adversity and challenge in the last several years, I know what's also gotten me through it. It's hard enough when you have faith to get through today's day. I can't imagine walking through today's day without faith. This is me. So hence, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and everything I do in my business is I'm congruent personally as I am professionally, and professionally as I am personally. I want to know that my body, mind, and soul are aligned, and that everything I do is congruent with my beliefs and my purpose. And I have relied heavily on my faith in God to get through the tough times. It's easy when times are tough to lean on your faith, but it's really hard when times are good. And I've had my crests and waves as well at the top. But I know this is, I've seen a lot of kids, meaning young kids that I've coached, go through some real difficult times in the last several years. Two, Ralph, took their own lives during this time of this 3.5-year period I was in. I take that person responsible as a coach. That could I have done anything different as a coach to save their life? We got men and women popping themselves every dang day. I look at my DMs and the more I share authentically, the more I see people opening up of what's good and what's bad. And the more I look at it, I'm a life transformer. I don't know if I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, I'm a business. I don't know what I am. I'm a life transformer. And that's why I'm here on earth. And I know God's got a plan for me, like he's got a plan for everybody else. And I believe that in our industry, we transform lives. Forget, whatever, but through fitness opens up our mind and our spirit and everything else. And that's why I exist. That's why I'm here on earth, is to get people healthier and fitter, get their minds right, get their spirits right, so they can live their divine purpose. And it just become clearer and clearer for me. Hence, even with the franchises, like, Ralph, I've already shared here when I announce it. It's faith, fitness, recovery, and life coaching. Like, I'm not hiding it. You don't have to be part of it. Like, you don't even have to be a person of faith to go train at an Impact X Performance. You could be of any faith, or you could be an atheist or agnostic. It doesn't matter. But if you want it, then opt in, and it's available for you with our Sweat and Soul classes and with our weekly devotionals and my message of the week. If you want it, opt into it. If you don't want it, then don't have it. It's just who I am, and you're going to have the best fitness, the best recovery. Life coaching is available. And if you want faith as part of your life, or when something goes wrong and you want us to pray with you, then great, it's available for you. If not, keep going. And when you need me, I'm here.
So I think, because we talk, and I'll talk to everybody that I do with these, is about culture, right? And I think you've defined culture in a very salient way. It's about defining who you are, right? And then all your actions revolve around, and they reinforce what you say your mission, your purpose, and your values are.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. That's culture. And the clearer that you've defined it, the easier it is for people to opt in or opt out, depending on if they, I would be I would be a terrible Marine. Marines are a great organization, but I would not be a good Marine, right? So, but it's very clear what it takes to be a Marine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. And the thing is nowadays people love you, people hate you. Like it's so black or white. And here's the thing with culture to me, it's the fabric and DNA that blends your philosophy, your ethos, your core values, your services, and ultimately your human interaction, like of how you deal with people all into one. That's your culture. It's where you're blending all of this together, your philosophy, your ethos, your values, your services into one, that, and you either love it or you don't. And it's okay if you don't. But I believe to ultimately serve your life's purpose, you align with a company that aligns with your purpose. Otherwise, there's going to be a mismatch, and you're not going to thrive in the environment that you're sharing your life's work with. So whether it be your gym, or whether it be your church, or whether it be your synagogue or your temple, or where you hang out and where you give back philanthropically, to me, culture is a really important aspect today, and it's polarizing sometimes when you think about this. But ultimately, you can't be a fence walker. You gotta really define, hey, this is what I believe in. This is my truest beliefs. And whether you're 25 or you're 50 or you're 75, and I've got clients of all ages, from pro athletes down to 83-year-old iconic pastors. And to me, in studying culture and the greats in sport, and the greats in the pastoral world, and the greats in the entrepreneur world, they're real clear with who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about that. First, let me ask you, though, about what you're saying about building culture. And you've got multiple businesses that you've got going on. I know you've got a lot of really good people working for you. How do you maintain the culture, strong culture that you have within your different enterprises?
Well, again, I think it's important. Number one, communication is key, and making sure that you communicate with your people. Now, communication is such a wide range term. So specifically, if you can get a takeaway, one of the ways I do that, besides quote team meetings, on that, is every week I share what I call my W legs with my team. Wins, losses, aha moments from the previous week, goals for this upcoming week, W legs. Wins, losses, aha moments, my goals for this upcoming week. They see what I'm doing, what I've done, and I'm walking the walk, talking the talk, and they see that. And then we have our weekly meetings, and then we have our 90-day wonder meetings, like every 90 days, quarterly meetings where we're coming together on a half day or full day, like visionary. This is what we're doing with this business, and we're going all the way into, they know my annual strategic plan of, this is what the 5 things that we want to accomplish this year. I reverse engineer from my annual strategic plan, 90-day wonder, 10 forms of wealth, 3 and 30 W legs into my daily 5. My team knows what I'm doing, because ultimately it comes down to my actions, because I ask them to share their W legs as well. When they share their W legs with me each and every week, guess what? From a communication standpoint, the culture is, when I go and see one of my trainers or coaches, or folks on our team, I'm typically not asking them, hey, how many sessions are you doing a week? Or, hey, what went wrong here? I'm typically going to ask them what they shared in their W legs about. One of my trainers right now, her daughter's on drugs. I'm going to ask more about personal stuff, because it's going to really, they're going to know I truly care, because ultimately culture is you caring more than anyone else. And when they know you care, this is a really important aspect of culture. If you have a culture that is one of compassion, empathy, and love. And to me, I've always, for 24 plus years, have built my businesses on that exact thing. So it's not just, hey, you got to communicate better. We have specific steps that we take to make sure, from the strategic plan, 90-day wonder, 10 forms of wealth, 3 and 30 W legs into our daily 5, that I share with them and they share with me, and then we communicate, and then we live it.
Yeah, that kind of clarity is just so, it is essential, right? So it's communication to get clarity around what is the most important thing that we're working on now. And everybody's got their part in their pieces, right? But we all know exactly what we're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And we talk communication all the time, but truly to communicate verbally and written is powerful these days, because people, especially in today's culture, they need to be communicated with, hopefully live, and you can communicate with them via verbal and obviously written, so that they really feel like they're heard, and people want to be heard, and people want to be cared for. And the more as leaders we can do that, then the better.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to underscore a little what you said about taking the time to care,
Mm,
and that to spend some time getting to know what's going on with people. And that is like that's the baseline of trust, right?
mm.
And being able to establish that is really what creates a relationship. To be able to get to a high performance place with people is because they know you give a crap,
That's
right?
it.
But if you don't, so a lot of times people think, oh, that mushy, kumbaya crap, it's not worth it. But really it is the beginning of being able to have a high performance team, and to get anything done is being able to establish that level of trust.
100%. No, I mean, listen, Ralph, we've got here at my gym 5 people who have been with me longer than 15 years. 5. I believe that is a product because of the culture of caring, right? Of like, we truly, not just me, but we have a culture that cares. Heck, Julie, who runs TDE, has been with me for 19 years. One guy's been with me for 22 years, like long-term people. And the importance of that today, it's easy to find what's wrong in people. My thing is, how do we get people on board who are really good people that we as leaders can make great? People who have great gifts, but we can really amplify them, and they're immersed in a culture, whatever that culture is, that they can thrive and we can lift up. And that's the key to any business, any industry, is creating that culture where we can get our folks to thrive and feel like they're special, because ultimately we got to get the right people in. And I constantly hear, man, it's hard to find good people, and it's hard to find in today's younger generation someone who's going to work hard. I agree. That just means as leaders, we got to find the people, because they are out there. They are out there, the people, the young people especially. And I got young kids myself, 3, that I tell them all the time, when you work your tail off and you can find an organization where you're going to be able to thrive, and you're showing up and you're doing good things, not for yourself, but for others, watch what happens with your career. And I think great leadership is really fostered by the fact that, how can I serve the other person and lift them up, versus now it's that me. What can I do to lift me up? No, lift others up and watch what happens to you.
Yeah, no, it's very well said, Todd. So I've taken a lot of time. I'm going to ask you just a couple more questions if I can, okay?
Please.
Because I want to talk to you. You are so unique in that you've trained and worked with so many people, from top athletes, world-class athletes, to CEOs, of multi-billion-dollar companies. You've worked with a whole gamut. You've seen success at a different level, and you've seen people in a time where there's no hiding, right? When you're running them through a workout, you see character, right? Because you can see if they're lagging, or if they're into it, or if they're going to push, or they're going to, pull back, or what. So is there a common thread that you see in the most successful people, of sort of their behaviors, their characters, some of the things that you've maybe witnessed of, like, man, that's what creates these people that are a little bit special?
Yeah. You said it earlier. You said the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. That's one of the things you got out of my talk way back in the day. But the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. I believe that the way you train tells a lot about a person as well. The meticulous detail that you have when you train, or the energy or intensity in which you train at. Some of those leaders you talked about, some of them I've worked for many years. Drew Brees, I've been training for 22 years. Great leader. Kevin Plank, founder of Under Armour, who I've been working with since 2007. Pastor David Jeremiah, Pastor J, I call him Dr. J. I've been training for over a decade. He's 83 years old. This guy continues to show up at 83 despite physical ailments and things going on. And the way they train, and I mean, Drew's a MVP of the Super Bowl and multiple records and one of the best of all time. The way they train reveals a lot about who they are as people. Visionaries, people who lead with empathy and intuition as well as smarts, people who epitomize the never give up attitude, right? Of being humble and staying hungry, humble and hungry. To me, these leaders, it doesn't matter, men or women, who are showing up, remember, the way you train reveals a lot about a person, right? So I think that's are you even showing up like in life? Are you showing up as your full and best self? And how are you growing as a man, or how are you growing as a woman? I mean, these are really important steps that I ask myself every day. Did I show up as my best self today? Did I do what I needed to do to show up as my best self and help the amount of people I needed to help?
Okay. And then on the other side of the coin, have you seen worked with anybody where maybe they had the potential, but they just didn't have the work ethic to reach the potential?
Have I worked with anyone? Oh, a lot. One of the things that drives me nuts as a coach, and anyone listening could probably attest to this, is that when you care for someone more than they care for themselves, that drives me nuts. When I see the potential in someone and I see it more than they see it themselves, and they're not willing to take the action necessary to get to where they're capable of going, that drives me crazy. Part of being a coach is to impart that belief in them of what they're capable of doing. And I get texts all the time from my athletes to this day, thanking me for, I still drop them messages when they're playing and training. When you don't have the discipline to do what's necessary to get you to where you want to go, that drives me nuts. So to answer your question, when people don't have the best practices or discipline to get them to where they either say they want to go or where they're capable of going, that drives me nuts. And that's what keeps me up at night is, man, if they only could see how good they could be. And isn't that for Ralph, you and me, the same ways? Like, I'm constantly asking myself, what am I capable of?
Yeah.
How far can I go with this? Hey, I don't know. With the franchise, we just launched it. I don't know what that means, other than I'm being called to step into the best version of me. And at this point in my life, I feel I can impact the most amount of people positively by taking this step. And it's a bold step, but all of us need to step into our boldest step. And to me, do you have the discipline to show up every day, to train, to show up to work as your best self, to get onto a podcast here with Club Solutions and a messaging to say, hey, how can I enhance my leadership? So to me, it's really about the discipline to do the little things that many times you don't feel like doing, but you got to do to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what you were saying is that when you were out at our facility doing the talk, a couple things that really stuck with me forever to this day was how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that was one. And the other one was, and then some. And I have working out, like just like doing tasks. That is just stuck with me. And that I want you to say what it means, and I'll just tell you how I've sort of incorporated it.
Well, and then some has been part of my DNA for 2 decades. I don't remember where I got that, but and then some to me is going above and beyond the call of duty to do what you need to do to help people. The extra mile in sport, it's always about the extra sprint. It's about the 1% difference we talk about all the time. I wrote about it in my WOW book way back when. But the and then some is the how far are you willing to go to help other people get what they want? How far are you willing to go to help you get what you want? The and then some is typically, they always say it's not crowded along the extra mile. Well, are you willing and able to get on the extra mile? Are you willing and able to spend the extra 20 minutes when you're dog dead tired to do the work that's necessary to really button up that proposal or that talk that you're going to present to a club or studio on the weekends? It sometimes requires the and then some effort to do what's necessary. When the times are quiet, you put your headphones on and you're going to write some prolific chapter in a book that is going to change a life or two. To me, the and then some epitomizes life. If we could all just take that and then some mentality into what we do every day and go above and beyond for other people as well as ourselves, that's the not just showing up, but showing up as your best self. That to me is a philosophy and one I live by.
Yeah, no, man, I love that. And I can't add anything to that. That's just so good. I will say, though, that I even think of it in terms of like my interactions with my wife, It's like just that little extra thing I could do, right? Like she expects like, oh, we're going to do the dishes. Well, no, I'll just get the dishwasher, right? That's the and then some. I can just so you don't even know that I ran it and it's empty. It's just even those little tiny things.
Huge. And that's great leadership, by the way, Ralph, because when you think about leadership, human action always comes back to, man, I wish she would change. Man, I wish he would change. And the leadership and work, man, why is she thinking like that? Why is he thinking like this? Versus me as the leader, how can I support them better? How can I support my wife better? Like you just said with the dishes. The question is, well, why isn't she doing that? Why isn't she doing this? Versus, hey, what should I be doing to help her more? Or as a leader, what can I do to support this person in this role even better than I'm doing now? I think when we can have that switch, that change of put it on yourself. If someone quits, what could I have done to prevent that? If that was supposed to be, what could I have done to help them stay with us even longer? My philosophy as a leader now has changed because I guess in the first 10 years or so, it was always about, well, I guess got to move on and find someone else versus, man, what could I have done to prevent that from happening? Right. And I think as a leader, if you could put the onus on you of what could I do differently now before someone quits or you have to fire them, or more importantly, even as a spouse, what can you do to help your wife or your husband, whatever, that goes a long way in what can I do to be better versus, man, she needs to do this. He needs to do that. It's always everyone else's fault. That's a different switch in mentality.
Yeah, no, that's so good, Todd. So I'm going to let you get out of here on this one. I just wanted to ask you, so parting advice for young managers, coaches, a bit of advice of a skill that they should master early that will have a huge impact on their career going forward.
Just one, huh? Well,
yeah, just one.
I would say this: listening to people. And I'm not talking listening with your ears, listening with your eyes. Listening is really important because when you can make it about someone else, not yourself, and you listen with your eyes, it goes a long way in you being empathetic. And empathy is the secret sauce in this industry when you can have compassion and care and empathy for someone. But it takes very, very good emotional IQ to connect with people, not just with your ears and what they're saying, because most people won't tell you what they're thinking, but they're going to have the body language and they're going to have the actions that are going to really speak. So for a young person, it's become even more involved in being an active listener on all aspects. And as you evolve your emotional intelligence, it goes a long way in you as a leader and a future leader in your organization, to leading with more courage and more empathy and more compassion. And I think that helps ultimately your culture and your business.
Yeah. And then like what you were just saying about being able to turn that into what can I do for you, right? Sort of that servant leadership idea. So you're listening and then looking for where that opportunity is for help for them.
Yeah. Ralph, early on in my career, I was not confident. So early on, I was talking more about my own success as an athlete, as a football player and playing in the World League. And I would share my own stories. Our stories are important, but really the client and members coming into our studio or club or gym because of what they need. Now it's leading with how can I help them get what they want versus the insecurity of, hey, if I prove how good I was of an athlete, then they're going to listen to me, versus the maturity of making it about them and then them asking you about, hey, how did you learn this, or where did this come from, and then asking you about your story. It's a different approach that comes with maturity. So if I can really fast forward anyone who's young listening, if you've been in the game for a while, you probably can empathize with me. But if you're young in this and you're listening in, good, congratulations. Just by listening in, you're going to learn. But make it about them. Make it about them, with them. What's in it for me? Your clients and members are showing up to your studio, your club, your gym because they have a need. Make it about them. And the more you make it about them, the more your client is going to win, the more your business is going to win. And ultimately, we're in this business to help them.
Yeah, man. Well, you have helped me with coming on to this show, so I totally appreciate that. And man, it's just always a pleasure to talk to you, Todd. And this is such a treasure to be able to spend this time with you. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Ralph. I appreciate you asking all those questions. And I want to say, even if I don't know you, I love you. If you're a fellow life transformer, wherever you live, wherever you work, is keep being the light, man. Keep being the light. And let me remind you, is sometimes the light's flickering. It's really small. Like, man, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I don't know. Just keep going, and make sure you surround yourself with some other people. Have some mentors, guys like Ralph, people who are in your organization. But be the light, man. Be the light. Keep being the light. Keep the light on. Great things are going to happen.
And then you can get caught up on all Todd's different projects on todddurkin.com, right? So everything's there. You can see about the summit. You can see about the book. You can see about, I don't know, them maybe by now there's some franchise stuff up, but you can check that out. So, but you can get all caught up with everything there. Yeah.
Yeah, everything's at todddurkin.com. If you're on Instagram, just my name at Todd Durkin. I'm on Instagram a lot, all social media channels. But I hang on Instagram, and definitely website has all of the details on any of the projects I'm involved with. We got a lot going on. Our team is doing an awesome job. And listen, I'm in a phase right now where everything's hitting here as this podcast and this message drops. There's a lot happening, and our team is on fire. We're on fire, and I'm excited to get up to LA for the Impact Summit. I can't wait to see so many trainers, coaches, and folks up there in Los Angeles at the same time as Idea World is happening. And we got the book dropping, we got the franchise going, and we got momentum back. And we all want Uncle Mo in our corner, and it feels good to have gone through the valley and now coming back up the other side, brother.
All right. Well, congratulations, Todd, and thank you again, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Peace. God bless, brother.
All right.